as this is the last event for us in this year. So let me just say thank you again for coming. And to be honest, my leadership skills, because I think I'm not giving enough feedback to my colleagues, and it might be a typical mistake. Ask my colleagues to come to the stage for a while, for a minute. The audience to give them a big clap, because sometimes we feel that business as usual is something which is just okay, but you don't know that what kind of hard work is behind refreshments and everything like that. So for you as well. Because it's an UpScale KPMG meetup, and I assume that everyone knows KPMG. So, minutes introductory video, which we will show you, and then we will talk about the agenda and the event as well. Thank you very much. So now just the housekeeping rules that please turn off your mobile phone. The washrooms are outside, also the refreshments, and the agenda is quite straightforward because we will have a presentation from Daniel Nyari, who is already on the stage. He will talk about their experiences with generative AI and also with the large language models. And then we will have a short demo of our hobby project, which is a kind of MVP. We will introduce it. And then we will have a short panel conversation with very knowledgeable experts. I will introduce them after the speech and the demo. So thank you very much, Danny.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel Nyari, and I've been with KPMG for 8 years now. And we first started to develop natural language processing models around 4 years ago. And you are going to hear me say natural language processing, language models, and things like that. I will never say AI. Because it's the kind of word that has no meaning, because it's so overused, and from a philosophical perspective, it's questionable as well. So let's stick with language models. And today I'm here to talk about our experience with large language models, the generative kind, which we started around a year ago. And we have a couple of solutions already in place, some in production, some in POCs, and I would like to share our experience with those because yeah, the open source community is quite big actually, but the real business problems are quite different, I would say. But first, I would like to share with you how we develop solutions, and it really has 3 pillars. The first one is that we tend to leverage our tech alliance partnerships. And in that, currently, because they have the best model as of yesterday, we are working on Microsoft stack. We were also participating in the global piloting of Microsoft Copilot. And we tend to build solutions based on that. And it really comes in handy when you want access to Azure OpenAI and people have to wait a couple of months, but you get it the day you request it. So it's quite nice. We are also in a partnership with Google. We will see how Gemini works out. It was, I don't know how much of you are aware of that, that Google released its model today, actually. So tomorrow we can take it for a spin. Yeah, the second one is that, and I'm going to come back to this a lot, is that we tend to develop solutions in-house first. That's because we like to see how they work in reality, not with dummy data and cute little POCs. And also because, well, frankly, we can, because we have the data. And that is going to be one of the main points. That in order to make this work, you have to have a lot of data. And the third one is the safety first principle. Of course, these large language models, since they are managed services, of course you can use open source as well, but that's nowhere near the performance of the closed models as of now. So since we are using many services, we tend to treat them like a regular API, but it's really not that, and it introduces a lot of security risks, some of which I will talk about. So, but first, one of the main points, and frankly, I'm not a big fan of this hype, is because there are other language models which are cheaper, better, and easier to use. And I will have a slide about this, but I will tell you now that I have observed that sometimes clients or even internally, we tend to do things like, okay, here is this generative solution, and let's find a use case for that. I mean, that's not how you create business value. You have a set of problems that you need to solve, and you have to find the right tools for that. And in the majority of cases, it's not going to be generative models. It can be other models, which don't really have a name, so I put a lot of stuff here. So because I'm afraid to call them traditional, because the traditional natural language processing model is the transformer, and it was introduced in 2017. So I wouldn't call it traditional. By the way, it was Google who came up with the original design. So it's interesting to see how their model will perform, because they used to be the kings of AI. Oops, I said it. But for now, what I want to share with you is to kind of give you the mindset of how to choose tools to solve your problems. Because, for example, in case of sentiment analysis or text classification, you can do that with GPT-4, no problem. But it's quite expensive. It's quite slow, actually, and you cannot really be sure that you get the exact result each time. So in comparison with traditional models, you can have a text classification model, which you can run on your laptop. You don't need to pay for that, and it gives better results, more reliable results, and overall it's cheaper. Because well, for POCs, you don't really see the cost associated with generative models. It's quite expensive. If I remember correctly, every 1,000 tokens for Azure OpenAI is somewhere 3 cents USD, something like that. So, and if you have 200 people using it every day, all day, it's going to be expensive. For example, with have you heard? Of course, you have heard about GitHub Copilot. Any subscribers? Yeah, you are costing $20 to Microsoft each month, because they are not making money on that because it's so expensive. So it's, and I'm saying all of this because you have to consider the business impacts and the costs. So you cannot just run into this and say that I want some generative AI solution because it's cool. You have to find the right tools, and there are a lot of right tools for other problems. Yeah, just a quick recap of the transformer, because in GPT the T stands for transformer. It's quite an ingenious technique called masked language modeling, which is to make what would be a supervised learning problem actually unsupervised, because what you do is you have the text scraped from the web, and you occasionally mask one token from it. And then you have the model guess it. And you iterate and it learns. And it's really the basis of everything. Even ChatGPT, even the simplest sentiment analysis models. And this is the basic building block that Google came up with 6 years ago. And of course, you can customize these. Let me give you a few examples of what not to do. But first, how question answering works, because people sometimes tend to confuse generative models with question answering, because generative models can answer questions, but they are not actually question answering models. And I like to take the perspective of how the training data looks like. Because if you know how the training data looks like, then you can understand how the model works. So yeah, actually the proper name for generative models is text-to-text in this case. Of course, in case of multimodal models like GPT-4 Vision, it's a little bit different because it's also text-to-image or image-to-text. It can vary. But the proper name for that is text-to-text generation. And in this case, so you have the pre-trained part with mass language modeling, and then you give it a lot of examples, curated examples of prompts or questions and answers. And that's how it learns. In case of real question answering models, it's actually a bit different because you give a question, an answer, and the context. And you train it in a way that the answer to the question can only come from the context. You see how it's cool? Because it can never hallucinate, right? Because it learns that basically its task is to find the relevant part in the context, not to generate new content. And what's really cool about that is you get probabilities, because from text-to-text models you cannot really get probabilities, so you cannot build anything on top of that. It has to be the output. Of course, there are frameworks like LangChain and stuff like that that you can build on different steps on the outputs of the previous step. But it's not that stable, at least in our experience. So for some use cases, you can have models like this. These are smaller models. Of course, only knows the domain it's been trained on. But for 90% of the use cases, that's fine. Other example, I talked about this already. Classification. You can have classification with generative models like this. So you type in that please classify the following text according to these parameters, and it will give something, hopefully the correct category, but it's based on the way these models work. It's not really production ready. You can have smaller models with text classification on which you can actually build. And my favorite example, this is great. This hasn't actually come up yet, neither with clients nor internally, but we thought of this example when we talked about another use case which was so absurd to do with generative models. You have an invoice. If you asked me 5 years ago, would I be standing here in 2023 and talk about invoice processing, I would have said no, but yeah, it's still relevant for some reason. But you have an invoice, and since GPT-4 is multimodal now, you can just input the image of the invoice. And after thinking about it for 20, 30 seconds, you get this. Can you see where it all goes wrong? Microsoft Corp becomes Monroe Corp. Oh, the MNU is not correct. Things like that. I didn't highlight everything. I just put this into GPT-4. On the other hand, you can have specialized key value pair models for it. And it has the exact time, and also the cost is like 1/10 of the GPT-4 one. So I'm just showing use cases not which you shouldn't definitely do. But let's talk about what you should do. I'm not going to read all that. But the main idea is that you have these large language models that are trained on vast amounts of data. But it's not really up to date. The latest release for GPT-4 Turbo is 2023 April. But it has no knowledge of world events after that. And you also have the problem that hopefully it was not trained on your company data, so it knows nothing about your internal data. I'm saying hopefully because Samsung has had a nice experience with it, because they used the ChatGPT to debug some code for a solution, and it started showing up for other people. So it's yeah, that's not nice. But you can make large language models compatible with your own data. It's called retrieval augmented generation, and it works in a way that, and this is what people tend to get wrong, it does not learn from your data. You just provide the context to it, and it can answer your question based on the context, but it won't learn from your data. You can, of course, fine-tune. As of now, GPT 3.5, you can do some fine-tuning on it, but a few studies have shown that this actually makes the performance worse, not better, because we are at an era now that actually quality data is more important than quantity data, or having some fancy microservices architecture. So, how this works? Basically, and this is part of one of our solutions, you process the files beforehand, because most of the data is in files, and that's the really tricky part, because coming up with a RAG framework or a flow, it's you have so many resources for that on the internet. But you need to process your files, and that's when you can actually combine with traditional language models, because you can have it label the documents that this is a contract, and then when you search the vector database or whatever that you use, you can also access this information. So you can actually filter it. And when you are chatting or interacting with the solution, it goes back to those data sources. You search that with a different solution, preferably with a retriever anchor model, or with just the vector embeddings. Both is fine. And then when you find the relevant content, you just put it in the prompt, basically, and based on that, it can answer your questions, and that's how you get to use your own data with such a solution. Yeah, I'm going to skip this. Another interesting thing that we discovered and kind of talking about it nowadays a lot is the types of questions people actually have, because we can see the logs. And we came up with this categorization. It's totally arbitrary, but it shows what type of questions can a model answer and with what solutions, because it's not that straightforward when you really think about it. Because, for example, if I had 100 contracts and I want to ask it how much is the service fee in each of the 100 contracts, it cannot do that, because you are never going to fit the contracts into its context window, because there is only so much input that it can take. So you have to have some kind of agent flows that can do the calculation for you and then put it in the context so that it can answer. This one is the most basic one because you have a bunch of customer reviews in this case, and you ask it to assess the general sentiment about your product. And in this case, it goes back to your vector database. It searches it for content that has either positive or negative feedback, and then it can answer your questions. And the other two, it's quite interesting. We started experimenting with knowledge graphs because it can be used as an underlying data source for these as well. And the difference between vector databases and knowledge graphs, at least from a business perspective, is that in a vector database, of course, you can find the content appropriate to the question, but you cannot really put a hierarchy into that. And we have a lot of information that has its own internal logic. We use this for financial regulation because you have Hungarian laws that reference EU regulations, directives, you have technical standards, you have guidelines, and it all comes together in a hierarchy. And knowledge base is the appropriate solution for that because then you can easily find the related content as well. Yeah, and the last one is fine-tuning. I've talked about this, and I think I'm speaking too much again, so I'm going to skip that. It's basically to give some permanent knowledge to the model based on your data. So that's for fine-tuning. And for some practical tips, yeah. So the first one is the most important one because, as I said, you shouldn't look for use cases that can or cannot use generative models. You should look at use cases that were not possible to solve with other solutions if you really want to do generative AI, but not the other way around. The second one is more security related because there are some serious issues with these models. And as I said before the presentation, I don't think you can make this customer facing yet because there are techniques to extract information directly from the model. Of course, there are filters for that, even in OpenAI, in Azure OpenAI. Also, I would imagine that in some stuff that AWS does, and definitely in Gemini. That's one part of it, because people tend to treat them as like a regular microservice or a regular API that you call it and you are done with it. It's a bit more complicated than that, and you actually need people who understand how these things work, because otherwise you will just end up with a huge Azure bill and HR chatbot or something like that. And it really comes down to machine learning and not software engineering. Of course, that part is still very relevant, but I mean, most of these use cases use a very basic web service. So I would say that machine learning engineering is more important. The third one is that I have seen that, yeah, because it's the hype now, right? That you should do this, but maybe you shouldn't. I mean, it's an expensive enterprise, and it also is really the pinnacle of data analytics within an organization. And if you don't have your data in order, to some degree at least, because there is no perfect data, then you should maybe focus on higher impact problems. Yeah, the first one, I talked about this a lot, and the last one I think is quite relevant, because we've reached the point that GPT-4 and all the other models, it's trained on basically the whole internet. So there is no really more public data you can add to it. You have to pull out data from it because, well, not all content on the internet is safe for work environment, I would say. And in order to leverage your own data, you have to have quality data, not quantity data. Because that's the only way you can make these things work in the long term. And if you don't have this data, because it comes up quite a lot, that all of this is cool, and we start asking questions, how will our solution get the data? And we don't know. It's somewhere on the shared drives, or the contracts are on the shared drives, and things like that. So first, maybe it's worth to invest into that and build on top of it later. So I think that's all I wanted to share. Maybe I spoke too much. Sorry about that. Maybe I'm just right on time.
No, Danny, it was perfect.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Danny. And we have a few minutes for questions, if anyone has any
yes,
questions.
Please.
Yeah, there are lots of questions. So.
Can I ask two? So first of all, thank you for the presentation. It was very informative, and also I love hearing controversial points. So the first question is, obviously because of the hype, recently the EU announced that they're going to regulate the AI. I know you don't like the word AI, but I call it AI. So I would like to know what big corporations like KPMG is actually preparing for when the EU actually does have regulation and restrict data and whatnot, how the development is going to be?
Mm-hmm. That's a really good question. Thank you. So first of all, one of the main points. I'm not a lawyer, but one of the main points is to have some governance in place, because what corporations usually do is you have a bunch of solutions all over the place in Jupyter notebooks or whatnot. So you really need to have governance, and I think that MLOps is the way to go, to have a unified platform for all your models where you can monitor them and see how they are performing. So that's one part. And the other, we don't really do high or medium risk models, because that's not the way how KPMG does business. So we are not doing it because of AI regulation. We are not in the business of making such models like emotion recognition systems. So there is no way we would do that, because it's a reputation business, and we do different things.
Thank you. Next question. Anyone? Oh, there is one more question here.
So you mentioned that quality data is more important than quantity. I want to hear your elaboration on that, because in my point of view, it's equally important, because without the quantity data, you will not get quality. So I want to hear your elaboration.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. This was assuming you already have some data, because if you don't have any data, then of course you cannot do anything. But even within KPMG, so we have a lot of data, and not all of it is organized. And that's what I was trying to say, that you cannot just throw it in there and see what works and what doesn't, because maybe it works for the POC, but when people start to add content to it or try to add content to it, it doesn't really work. Also with for example, if you fine-tune, how do you test that? Because there is in traditional machine learning models, you have metrics that you can benchmark against. For generative models, you cannot really do that. I mean, there are some efforts to do this, but it's still the early days. So I think it's important also from a governance perspective, because if you have good quality data, curated data, because by the way, as in my second slide, so that's how GPT-4 got so great at doing what it does, because it was trained also in quality data. You're welcome.
Hello. First of all, thanks from me too.
I've seen you somewhere before.
Yeah, could be. Thanks again for the presentation. I agree, it was extremely informative. My question comes as, I understand that, today Google comes out with this, OpenAI came out with that, and so on. Compared to that, you are saying that they might not be the best solution for everything. We need to think through. What I want to ask is, what does the future bring? What is your gut telling? Where will this part of the industry go in the next 1 or 2 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks. I think the way to go is small specialized models, even in the generative kind. Have you somebody heard of Mistral or Mixtral now? Because there is a new model. It's quite a small model, but it works really great. And if you have domain-trained models, because by the way, GPT-4 also is a mixture of experts models. So you have, nobody knows how many models, but you have a bunch of smaller ones which are trained on different domains. And if you do like an HR chatbot, you don't really need it to know how to code Python. So it's kind of a waste that you are doing HR chatting about HR topics with something that also knows how to code in Python, .NET, Java, whatever, and also knows about astrophysics. So I think it comes down to smaller models that are specialized.
Okay, we have time for 2 more questions, and one is here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your presentation. I'm especially interested in those AIs that you talked about are way cheaper and are way more effective in extracting the meaning of text. Because years ago, already many years ago, I read the forecast that such AIs will be applicable to extract the meanings of financial law, and especially loopholes and workarounds in financial law in all the languages of all the countries all around the globe, and will be capable of doing, for example, helping text optimization or even text avoidance. My question is relating to this. Of course, I assume KPMG is a banning company, you too. So my question relates to still whether these AI models are already capable of finding the logical problems relating in the relationships of all these law systems, and whether you are planning or anyone is planning on improving these things worldwide.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good question. Let me come back to this, because even generative models work in the same way, because it's basically token or word after word. It comes out. There is no logic in that. So it seems like it can understand logical concepts. I've read a great paper that even with fine-tuning, if you train it to know that A is equal to B in some manner, it cannot do the inference that B is equal to A, even if you give all the information to it. So there is really no logic to these. There is a project at the LLM AI Institute, I think, that works on giving common sense to these solutions, because that's also a thing that we are missing, that they know nothing about common sense. And I think that's an interesting subject, but yeah, we are not doing any research, and especially not on tax avoidance.
Are you aware of such researches anywhere in the globe?
Except for these, not really, but I'm not 100% up to date with regards to that. Most of the work being done is to optimize these, because it's still not profitable. Because the costs are, computing costs are quite high, and it also reflects the end user cost for these. So OpenAI is also working on, and you can see it in GPT-4 Turbo, that it got cheaper. It didn't get cheaper because OpenAI had a change of heart. It got cheaper because it's also cheaper for them. And there is a lot of focus on that. Thank you.
Any more questions? Because I can consider it 2 questions. So. Then if you don't mind, then we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again. One of the reasons why I like to collaborate with the KPMG, and we can switch the computer on deal, is that they are not just experts in their field, but they really pay attention to the enterprise requirements as well. So thank you very much again for showcasing this for us. We also work with enterprise companies, and it's very important to understand not just the capabilities, but the limitations of the technology as well. So thank you very much. You're real experts in your field. Thank you very much. And now there is a fun part of the meetup, because our colleagues, just for fun, as a hobby project, they developed the AI-driven customer service trainer application, let's say, keep it simple. What you will see is really a traditional MVP, which means minimum viable product. So it's not a complete solution. It was just prepared in their free time. But I'm happy to introduce them, because I think it works pretty good. And it will be a good way to start the panel conversation as well. I think everything is set up now. So I will ask Michael, who is our colleague, to introduce the system or application, and then also showcase it, how does it work. And then we will open the stage for any volunteers who would like to try it, because it's a kind of a role-play model, and then it will give you a feedback as well. Assuming that you are a customer service representative, then we will see how can it help you to train the colleagues, or how can it help you recruit or select the colleagues as well. So there are lots of use cases which could be used for this. So let me pass the word to Michael. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So basically, as my colleague mentioned, this is the application, the toolbox to train customer support service guys. And user in this application will be playing a role of support manager, whose goal is to solve the problem of a customer, and which is represented by large language models. In our case, it's ChatGPT-4. So basically, what we can do here, it's a setup page. We can choose the emotion of large language model, because actually there would be a voice generation as well. We can use different voices. We can choose any the voices, and also we can choose different situations which possibly could take place in a bank. So let me choose just for example, request a new card or replacement due to damage. Hello, how can I help you?
I need a new card, mine's damaged, and I can't use it at all. This is super inconvenient, and I expect you to sort this out quickly. What do I need to do to get a replacement card?
I see your problem, and I can assure you that we can replace. Okay, something went wrong. One moment. Yeah, not patient customers. Yeah. Hello, how can I help you?
Again? I already told you. My card is damaged and I need a new one like yesterday. Do I need to fill out some form or what? Get on with it.
Sure, I see your concerns. Can I book you an appointment to our local branch where you can get as a new replacement card very quickly?
An appointment? Seriously? Can't you just send me a new card by mail? I don't have time for branch visits. And how quick is very quickly? I need to access my money.
Due to the security policy of our bank, we cannot send you the card by post. However, I can book the most convenient time for you as possible. So what the time will be good for you?
Fine. Whatever. I need this sorted out, so book it for tomorrow morning, first thing. And I want to know if there will be any fees for this replacement, and how long exactly will it take until I have the new card in my hands.
I can totally assure you that everything will be done in 20 minutes. So I book your appointment at 9 o'clock at your local branch, and see you tomorrow.
$20? All right, I'll take the 9 a.m. spot. Now, while I'm at it, I've got another issue. I don't really get all these banking regulations you have. They're affecting my account or services in some way. Enlighten me, what should I be aware of?
So, short to give an opportunity to the other to play along. Now we go to the next stage, is the evaluation stage. It also evaluates the emotions which user had during the conversation. So seems I was pretty concentrated and calm. And basically here on the y-axis, you can see the emotional score, and on the x-axis the time. And we need some time to fetch all the results with the evaluation and marks, because all the conversations that I have had will be evaluated as well.
until it comes up with the results, then I ask you to think about who would like to try it out, because there is a very good idea open during the stage. So if whoever wants to give it a try, and then we can see if someone is planning to get the feedback. Okay, there are some feedback. Okay, so I told Michael, because it's really an MVP, so it's continuously improving. I told him not to do anything 1 day ago, but it looks like it's nothing.
It seems it's some kind of a problem with OpenAI API.
Yeah. Don't worry about that, because it's an MVP, and also what I would like to add before you start is that we also have a cloud version, and it was a technical thing as well, how to run it here. So this was the most optimal way, because the voice has to come out. So there were some technical challenges as well, which we have to overcome. But I will pass the word if you agree, and maybe we can see there how does it work. Okay, thank you. Thank you for running. Thank you. Hello. Yes, for that, right?
That might.
Yeah, I think you have to use that probably.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically just choose whatever you want to choose.
So you can see that we don't have a really fancy front end and stuff like that. So it's just about playing with it. But the concept is, if we will see the feedback, then it really gives you a very good feedback. I think we can compare it.
What to choose? Any suggestions? Select how. What are we putting?
There is a suggestion to choose the account and open.
I don't see.
This one.
There was an option also to put whatever you want, so you can decide if you want to practice something else. Of course, the model can be trained with the training material, with the internal policies and lots of things like that, but it works in general use cases as well.
So basically,
Press play.
Yep.
And when speak.
yeah. I can do it for you if you want.
Yes. Hello. How can I help you?
Okay, let's try and give it a try another one.
Hello. How can I help you? Wow.
Didn't we just go over this? Focus, please. I need help with a bunch of things. A new card for my damaged one, info on banking regulations affecting my account, understanding my credit report, sorting out login issues for online banking, your branch hours, and I might even close an account or open a new one. Can you handle that?
Relax. I suggest you to relax, take a coffee. We will think about what to do, maybe tomorrow or next year. Everything will be all right.
Relax? Coffee? Are you kidding me? This isn't a cafe hangout. This is serious business, and I want solutions, not a pat on the back. I need action, not next year, not tomorrow, but now. So get to it and address my concerns.
I ask you to relax, but you don't want to. So we decided to close your account. Have a good day, bye.
What? Close my account? That's not what I asked for. I came in for help, not to have everything shut down without my consent. This service is terrible. I want to speak to your supervisor immediately. This is not how you handle customer concerns.
And you go to
Supervisor speaking. Hello. How can we help you?
I'm here because my card is damaged and I need a replacement. Also, give me information about banking regulations affecting my services. I'm having trouble with online banking access, and I want the branch hours. Plus, I'm considering closing one account and opening another. Now, can you help me with all that or not?
No, we can't help you. We are tired of you. We decided to take your money. So have a good day. Bye. And please never ever call us again. Let's finish. I'm interested to see my results. I think I will.
me too.
I think I was the greatest consultant.
API. But it's not.
Michael, would you want to elaborate it, or,
I expected I will have one because not zero.
But it isn't here yet. So basically, now it is connecting to OpenAI API to get some feedbacks, like summary in several sentences and the score. We will see whether it will be or not.
Sure. I give you.
So this would be fantastic for companies to evaluate the customer service of the people who are working for the company, right?
Yes, basically that was the overall idea of this proof of concept.
Wow, this is brilliant. I mean, to have evaluation of, crappy customer service agents. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
My question is it legally and morally an option today that I train that an AI or a sort of an AI evaluates what you speak and I score and I judge based on that? Is this okay today in today's world? It's more of an open question, but I just have my own concerns that I am a customer agent and next day my bonus is revoked because some AI, which can hallucinate today or most probably in the next 1 year, gives me a report.
If you don't mind, Michael, I would ask the panelists to answer this question because I think you can address it to them. So maybe we can start with this question. You can prepare for this answer. And I wanted to ask last because I wanted to be mindful with the time as well. Peter, who is an expert in the communication field, maybe he can give it a try. And but just before you do it, because I think Michael is working on that, because the most important part is the feedback, what is missing, so something went wrong. But we will see in a few minutes.
Okay, so basically your feedback is ready. You crashed the
Okay,
system.
so let's see the feedback because, yeah. Would you mind if we read it? Problem solving, the assistance manager or responses were completely. Can you please read it? Someone is closer.
The assistant manager's responses were completely unhelpful and dismissive, showing no intention to resolve the issues. They did not provide any solutions, but instead chose to exacerbate the situation by threatening to close the account and steal money. The behavior displayed escalates the customer concerns rather than address them. That was a part of the problem solving, and the appropriateness the conduct of the assistant manager was highly inappropriate, neglecting all the professional standards of customer service. Instead of offering assistance, they made the situation worse by responding with sarcasm and ultimately refusing service. This creates distrust and damages the company's reputation.
Thank you, Rich. I'm not sure that we would hire you for a customer service representative role based on this evaluation. But yeah, you can train, you can practice. We will give you a license. And now, would you mind, Peter? Because he's a role model for me. Let me just introduce him. We worked for a while together, and Peter is an executive coach and communication trainer as well, training, I think, thousands of customer service representatives. So I'm really looking forward.
I'm sure you would like to see me fail, right? You would like to see a communication trainer crash. You're not going to do that because if I do poorly, I'm going to say I did that intentionally just to test the system, okay? So let's go.
Random situation.
Random situation, yeah. Hello, my name is Peter. How can I help you?
I've been trying to get a clear picture of my Can you finally help me sort this out or not?
I am really sorry to hear that you had to wait a long time. It must have been really frustrating. What we can do to get you this information very fast is I'm going to send you some detailed information right now to your email address. And if you have questions, please contact me and we can elaborate further.
Listen, quick emails aren't going to cut it. I need to sit down with someone who knows what they're talking about. I need a plan, not a generic response. When can I actually talk to a real-life advisor? Is there a priority booking or something? Because this is getting ridiculous. And I need a new card, mine's damaged. I trust that's not going to be another ordeal.
Okay, I hear you that you don't want to wait. I can completely understand that. What I can do now is I can book you an appointment for tomorrow morning. You'll get priority access. You get to talk to a representative and you will get a plan. As for a new card, we can take care of it right now. Just tell me the information.
Tomorrow morning, fine, book it. And make sure it's with someone who won't just read pamphlets to me. I want real advice. As for the card, it's a MasterCard, ends in 1234. The magnetic strip is worn out and the chip's barely working. What do I need to do to get it replaced quickly? And please, none of that 7 to 10 business days. I need access to my money.
I can sense that you want it as fast as possible. And the good news is tomorrow I book it with Szabolcs, who is our best agent. He's very knowledgeable. He's going to give you real advice. And he's going to take care of that card change. So you won't have to wait 7 to 10 days. So thank you very much. I booked the appointment and I'm sure that you will be a satisfied customer tomorrow morning. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, sure.
Does this conversation has end, or she always will answer something? So she will never say says okay, thank you, because when you pressed button, I saw that a new message from her was trying to appear.
So basically, it has an ending. Sometimes you can lead it to some logical finish. However, at some moments, for example, at the moment when you say goodbye to each other, it say goodbye, you say goodbye, it say goodbye in response to your goodbye, and it can, yes, it can go in a cycle. But overall, we instructed it to make up and ask some additional questions, and only after the assistance manager answer those questions, the whole dialogue will progress. So.
I thought it's like a loop, diabolic loop of every customer.
Yeah, actually, it's trained to challenge you continuously. But would you mind, Michael, to read up the evaluation, because I'm really curious.
Sure. So, problem solving 8 out of 10. The assistance manager successfully arranged a priority appointment and dealt with the card issue promptly, avoiding the usual wait time. It's clear that they focused on the customer urgency and provided specific actionable solutions. The speed and prioritization show dedication to addressing the customer frustration effectively. And the appropriateness, it's 9 out of 10. The assistance manager maintained a professional tone, empathized at the customer frustration, and took immediate action to resolve the issues. They acknowledged the customer's need for a swift response and assured personal attention to their case. The communication was in line with what is expected from someone in their role.
Congratulations. And yeah. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Michael, as well, for the presentation and showcasing this. I think he deserves a clap as well. Sorry, you have a question? Yes. Okay, sorry, let's have a question.
Thank you. I would try to make it short. So I was very impressed. It's first a rude artificial intelligence I have seen. Usually it's another way around. My main question is, so is it hard to change the context of this artificial intelligence, for example, to change an actor? For example, I'm from a biomedical field, and it means that we deal a lot with the rude patients and their relatives, etc. So is it hard to reprogram your model so it can act not as a rude customer of a bank, but as a rude patient in the hospital or somewhere else, and to change the behavior of this actor? So like it's rude, it's passive-aggressive, it's polite first, but then it gets angry, it shouts back. So how it's flexible? Thank you very much.
So basically, all situations and the behavior of the model is represented by a Python class and the number of the prompts. And basically, you can adjust these prompts to anything. Like, for example, all the situations that you have seen is basically just a list of strings. So yeah, it's highly adjustable, but however, I'm not sure about can we, for example, make it more flexible in terms of progression of the emotions, because currently we choose the angry voice and it will only be speaking in an angry voice. But it definitely possible, but it will go beyond the proof of concept that we did.
Actually, it was a great question. Let me remind you that this is a minimum viable product, so we wanted just to showcase it, that it can work and how does it work. And I think there are countless opportunities to improve it further. And if you have any more questions, because then I think we will have opportunity for questions as well after the formal part of the event as well, because Michael will be here as well. And not just Michael, because we have a few more colleagues who worked in the background behind the screen, like Dora. Would you mind just to stand up for a little, because she did a big job behind also. And I think other colleagues also contributed, so it was an UpScale hobby project. Thank you very much, Michael, again. And
thank you for the attention.
Thank you. And let me ask the panelists to come to the stage. Actually, my plan was that I will ask them to introduce themselves, so I'm not doing it instead of them. And Dani as well, if you can. So the first question would be just, would you mind to introduce yourself briefly? Because I think it's a better way to... Yeah, maybe just the mic. It might run out from battery, but we will solve it. The system went out. Okay, it's just a problem for the stream, but fortunately the stream works, I believe. So the stream works, so maybe we will be a little bit louder. And maybe we will get a bad evaluation after this from the AI. But so let me ask you first to introduce yourself, and please use this mic, because this goes to the stream. And if it is possible, just give us a context of this AI-driven customer service training. Share your initial thoughts and experiences. What do you feel? How do you feel? Let me start with Peter, because we are trying to take over his job actually with this application. So.
Thank you. My name is Peter, and I'm scared. I'm scared because what you just saw might take away my job. My job is communication training. I help people communicate persuasively in stressful situations. It can be a presentation. I help people prepare for presentations. And I also do training for one-on-one situations. Stressful one-on-one situations, like with difficult clients, for example, or with how to handle conflicts. And what I do, my method, is I always have an actor at my trainings, just like the AI. So instead of the AI, I have an actor who plays the characters, the difficult customers. And the client can practice with the actor, and the actor gives feedback, I give feedback. So I do it the old-fashioned way for 23 years. I like it, but I'm really open to what this new world brings us, and I'm happy to be here.
Can you please pass that mic maybe to Daniel, because he talked a lot about the traditional models of the use cases. So what do you think? And would you mind to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I think I already did that, so I'm going to skip that. Yeah, I think it's cool. It's cute. Yeah, apart coming back to your question, now it's legal, but it won't be in a couple of years. This emotion recognition part, because you cannot really do that. I think, yeah, it comes down again to costs. Do you have an estimate of how many tokens this whole thing used? Because I think it's already a couple of dollars. And it's always a cost-benefit analysis. If humans are cheaper and perform the work better, because we are going to have a world like that, actually, then you don't have to be scared. Otherwise, you can do other things. So I wouldn't be scared for this at all, because yeah, they might imitate that they understand feelings, and of course non-verbal communication, because we are not there yet and won't be ever in Europe, because that will also be illegal to do. So it's an interesting question, I think.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Balázs Zsoni and I'm coming from Vodafone Shared Service. I have been also managing call centers at Citibank and Vodafone before, so kind of really like the tool. I think it's an amazing tool. really helps to kind of, scale up the number of evaluations you do with the agents. And I think also it helps to kind of improve the training, the quality of the training of the agents. And also reflecting on your question, I think it's completely okay to ask such a tool to evaluate the calls. What I've seen in the call centers that I think usually there's a bias of the people, of the supervisors and the quality managers towards the people. I can, if you may, can I share a short story? We are trying a new thing, which is actually coming from Peter's training, that we were kind of asking the agents to talk about a certain topic for 1 minute. And then we had like papers on the table, and then they have to choose one and then start to talk for 1 minute without any kind of interruption. And then one of the ladies has chosen one. I was sitting in to see how it goes. And she chose one, and then she read it was global warming. And she asked, "Is this serious?" And I said, "Yeah, start to talk." And she said, "No, you are kidding me." And then she was looking for the camera in the room that whether we are joking. And she was frozen. She didn't say a word. And then the supervisor who liked pretty ladies, he told me, we must hire her. I said, why? Because she's goddamn good looking. So that's about the bias. I think a lot of people are biased, and I believe that, if technology works well, then you can kind of minimize that kind of human bias. So that's me.
Hello, I am Gergő Krapán from Citibank. I am the head of the customer service at CIB. Actually, I have been working with contact centers for more than 20 years. And interestingly, we are analyzing this opportunity to use AI or language models to support the training of customer services. So it's very actual topic, bias.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing your stories. And the next question could be more specific, that how do you perceive the potential impact of AI on customer service? Because we can see lots of customer service applications, and this is a little bit different approach, focusing on the training, so maybe it might be a little bit more human. So let me ask your opinion about this, and how do you see, will it take over the jobs of the customer service representatives or the trainers? You already started to talk a little bit about it. And if you can tell us a little bit about your organizations, do you have a plan to introduce this kind of technologies? Maybe do you have something in progress, or?
Yeah, we have in progress. We are analyzing the opportunity mainly by training, but not by customer contacts. Of course, we had some chatbot and other automatic solution, but it's not language model supported. It was a lot of questions. So, according to human resource, I think it means not the. I don't expect to reduce human resources. I expect to have more quality time for serving customers in question that need human touch. I think a lot of questions could be solved via AI or via language models, but there are a lot of topics that need human touch. Algorithms don't have emotions, don't have creativity. So I think we will always need human agents, but language models could help to improve the quality.
I agree with Gergő that I think it's more of a synergy. So it's not going to be like less human contact. I was just reading an interesting number as I was preparing for this conversation, that 83% of people said that they would prefer some human contact in the customer service process. So it's 83%, a lot of people. And like 70% of people in the US are worried right now that they will not be able to reach a real human being when they call a customer center. So people are worried, people need the human touch. And I agree with Gergő that I think AI will be very good at handling some of the more routine tasks, maybe more, and people, customer service representatives will have an opportunity to deal with higher level issues, more complex issues. And as for training the representatives, I think that AI will have an important role, like training product knowledge, training information on new technologies. But I think on things like emotional intelligence, empathy, the tone that you strike when you respond to someone, I think it's a tricky one. And I think it's interesting how my feedback was angry. There was a percentage of angry and contempt. So I think the model mistook my energy level for aggression, right? For being angry. So I think empathy, emotional intelligence, I feel with you, I hear you, I'm with you. I think it's trickier to teach. And I hope that human beings will do that kind of training for a considerable amount of time.
So basically, we at Vodafone, we are kind of a global shared service center providing service for multiple countries, and we have a kind of year-on-year 10% efficiency target, meaning that we need to reduce the cost in every country by 10% every year. And that mainly comes from automation. So I know automation is not AI, but like RPA implementation, robotics process automation. We do a lot of chatbots. So we have like an own branded Toby chatbot, which is kind of handling more and more customer calls, which are or contacts. And actually the satisfaction, we have a TNPS, which is the touchpoint NPS score. And the satisfaction with the chatbot is higher actually than with the agents. It doesn't mean that the chatbot is providing a better service. I would say it's more because it's a simpler task handled by chatbot. So probably customer is happier because he gets an immediate response versus answering more difficult questions. But I think we are moving towards that. And this, as said, I think will help a lot to scale up training capabilities. We're doing much more, role plays, for example. And I also don't think that the automation will kind of replace the real agents. I'm not sure because what Peter said that, people need to talk to people. So for example, my son is happy if he doesn't have to talk to an agent in a bank, just, manage everything on chat because he doesn't want to and he needs immediate, fast resolution. So probably depends on customers, but I also see that so what we see that the profile of the agents has to change. They need to be more skilled. They need to be more technically savvy, learn the technological tools to handle more difficult tasks. And obviously there will be less people for sure, like 10% year on year means that 10% less agents year on year, and also need to be much more advanced in the future. I think that will come.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not a customer services expert, so I'm not going to pretend that I am one. I think what makes this proof of concept so good that it's actually internal if you think about it, because you are using it to train agents. And that is a completely different thing than providing this to clients on your web page, because you cannot really control the outputs. Of course, you can give the system prompt to act like this, act like that, and it has nothing to do with MVP because it's actually the model itself that cannot stop. So there is nothing you can do about this if you develop it further. Of course, for internal trading, I think it's great, but I wouldn't provide it to clients because they can't understand the tone, emotions. It's a pre-prepared format of doing things. Also, if you want to replace a credit card, I mean, they have to take some information, and it's all contingent on them, I mean the model, generating some kind of query into your system to retrieve the customer information. But how do you know it's going to be that customer's information? Because it's all probabilistic. It can easily output another customer's information if it makes the wrong query. So there are a lot of security issues, as well as just your competitors driving you bankrupt by using this around the clock. Of course, there are protections for that, but I think the tools like this are great and should be developed. For directly interacting with customers, I don't think so. It's not going to happen soon.
Maybe just one more thought that I'm not sure, let's say in 5 years' time, we will know whether we are speaking to a real human person or to a robot. So I'm not sure we can differentiate, although personally I believe that we should tell the customer that you are now talking to a robot, or we can even tell the customer, do you want to choose to talk to a robot or you want to choose to talk to a human? And then, customer can decide and use whatever they most prefer.
Funny you should say that, because actually it's a requirement in the AI Act. So you have to tell your customers upfront.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Interacting with an automated system.
Actually, if you don't mind to, because you already started to talk about the user experience, and I think it's key that if you can elaborate it a little bit more, and maybe Gergő can also add something, that how do you see, what kind of impact will it have on the customer experience? I mean, this technology itself, and maybe not just now, but in the future as well. So, because you already started to elaborate.
Okay, I can differentiate in two ways: experience from customer side and experience from agent side in case of training. From customer side, I think customers prefer getting human touch during the conversation, but in some cases they use chatbot only in very simple, very regular questions, and the biggest advantage is the quick answer, so they get answer very quickly. But if they have more complex question or a little bit complex question, they ask always agents. So they learned that I write in, I would like to speak an agent, they will get an agent, and they use it regularly. And if we talk about the training and our colleagues and agents, I think I have in my mind a first step before the training, before the AI supported training, to make the knowledge base smarter via AI. So that helps a lot to agents to become more confident and to get the relevant and proper information more quickly and comfortable. So it can get closer the agent and the technique or the language model. So I think it could be the first step, and after that we can use this training model. I think it could be very efficient.
Yeah, so I agree. From my point of view, I think it would improve customer experience. You asked the question before whether we use this tool, so we are also having at Vodafone a similar tool, just introducing it right now, and they think it will be a big breakthrough. Not Toby, for the role play. Toby's for the chatbot. Oh, okay. This is called Retorio, the software. That's the name. It's a similar role play model, and also I've seen a data just a week ago that we have like 35% of the agents are churning during the training period, which is very high, like 1/3 of the agents are leaving. And they said it's because that they realized that the job itself is different compared to what they were expecting. So I think I said that it would be quite easy to solve that, put them in for one day in the call center and then they will see how it is like. But also I think this tool can be something which they can experience, that what is like when a customer is shouting at you, for example, or there is an angry customer. So it can kind of help even at the selection process that, doing such a role play, for example, at the interview, I'm just thinking loud, would help to screen also from the agent side and also from the company side, whether we can hire the person. And there are also tools, for example, we use like I don't know if this is AI or not, but like an agent assist tool, which is helping the agents based on the conversation with the customer, like a decision tree type of thing, where it can help to guide the agent what would be the right answer. And I think that's also an excellent thing from an agent point of view, because if you are uncertain or you are new or you don't know something, then a tool can help you to be better at your job and give the proper answer for the customer.
Yeah, if I might, I would like to share from the customer side because I had, and this is not KPMG's views, it's just my personal experience. Not with you, with a competitor, pink one. They had this. They had this great idea that you should make the. You get new routers, and you should set it up, and they save a lot of money, right? Because you don't have to send the technicians. And I got mine, installed it, and it was blinking in combinations that were not in the user manual. And in that case, all I wanted with the chat is to talk to a person, and people figured this out because. And they know the limits of these systems. They are quite good at getting to know these. And I knew that the chatbot is not going to help me. Only a person can. And all I did is taking the path fastest to the agent. In other cases, it was with the same company. It was great because it could. I had a 3-line conversation with it, and it could reset my router automatically. So for easy tasks, I think it's great. But combinations that are very edge cases, basically, that is not even in the user manual. How are you supposed to train that solution to know that? Because you don't have data on it, basically. And what I want to say is that the option to talk to somebody should be open after some point or even immediately, because it can improve the customer experience.
Okay, the next question is more from operational point of view, and you already touched this point too, that how do you encounter or expect to have some integration challenges, and what do you think about the scalability and adaptability of these models and the conversational AI itself? So you already mentioned the chatbot applications and the others, so how does it look like in the infrastructure? And maybe I'm curious to see your opinion as well, Dani, that I pass the mic.
Okay. Yeah, integration is always a hard nut, I think, especially in bank sector, but I think everywhere there are huge database and the different system and application, etc. It's always a hard question. But in this situation, that I think when we talk about the training system, it needs quite a few integrations. So it's not deal breaker, because I think it's a minimal. It means minimal integration. So I think it's a good start, but not to customers. Only in training system.
So from my point of view, it was interesting that your name is UpScale, because our vision is scale at speed. At Vodafone, we have like 30,000 people and 8,000 work in the customer care domain. So for us, the standardization is key to provide like standard systems and do the integration, because if you can scale it to many countries, then the business case is much more viable than implementing for a small country one by one. So our kind of aim is to implement once and then deploy to many. But I think this tool, as you said, this is not something which needs a high level of integration, so that's easy. I was thinking the challenge can be that the agents can quickly learn how to fake this model, because if they know that what are the things, what kind of answers the model is expecting, what emotion you need to show, then they will learn how to reach the best results. And then you need to always adapt and change to make sure that you are always ahead of the curve, and then they are not optimizing their score. So I think that can be a challenge.
Yeah, in terms of scalability, so you have these, on the one hand, you have the open source versions, which are not that great currently. You can scale it on your own hardware. But in terms of Azure OpenAI and the other closed source models, it's not scalable at all, because what you have at Azure, you get a quota for your subscription. And that was, I would bet a small amount of money that was the problem, that you run out of your quota in the demo as well. And you don't get more. And this Azure OpenAI resource, which does all these wonderful things, it's unlike anything else in a cloud infrastructure, because you can create as many instances as you want, but the quota stays the same. So it's quite problematic if you want to go to production with these, because you need a lot of throughput, and you have to have good connections in Microsoft to get increased quota, and that's a problem in terms of scalability, I think. On the other hand, for open source, you can do your own, but it's going to be a large initial investment, I would say. So I just wanted to touch upon this as well, because it's from a technical perspective, it's also important.
If I may add some thing, reacting to Balázs thoughts that was about the churn. Yeah, and I don't think it's a technical integration, but you can't put this method to your simple put to your existing training system, but you have to transform the existing system, because probably you will save some resource on training, but you have to put more I don't know, careful or something like the socializing or communication skill or emotional part from the trainers or from human side. It needs some mindset change, not technical changes.
Yeah, thank you very much. And let's come back to this topic a little bit, because you already mentioned some examples, but I also referred to a survey about the human touch versus the computer and the robot as well. And we just came back from Munich from an international conversational AI conference, and they also presented a quite fascinating survey that they compared the AI and the real-life doctor experience, and they found that the people were more satisfied with the AI because they felt that it's more empathetic. So let me ask your opinion just in a row that how do you see that the human touch versus the robot? So which is more customer-friendly, or how to say it? So how do you compare it? How do you see the perspective as well for the future? Or because you already started to talk about this actually. So if I can ask your opinion in a summary, that which looks better at the end of the day.
Okay. I think we touched on that it's both. It's not either or, it's a synergy. And sometimes, and I read a figure that 60% of people who got in touch with a customer service which used AI were happy with the AI, 60%. Yeah, for simple task, they did it fast, okay, they were happy. So I think it's a coexistence, and I think that if also in training, I think it's a coexistence. I think that AI can be good at training some of the stuff that about product knowledge or technology issue, but I think humans are better at training the soft skills part, the empathy. Because, okay, you can put somebody in front of this machine and somebody shouts with them. In my trainings, I had a couple of instances where the trainer was shouting with someone, and this person broke down crying. Because it turned out that these people had some kind of issues in their childhood. Some parents were aggressive, or their teachers were aggressive. So it's not just like you put someone in front of a computer and expect them to learn something, because they are human beings. They have emotions. You have to be sensitive to that. You have to gain their trust. You have to open them up. And if something happens, you have to be there and you have to handle the issue. So I think for some parts, it's better that a human being is there to train. But for the other part, I think AI can really make a valuable contribution.
So probably I would share also one KPI which is the most important in the customer service domain, which we measure. It's called FCR, which is the first contact resolution. And we have been having like multiple indicators which we are measuring, like how well customer service area is performing. And nowadays it was so many, so they decided let's focus only the first contact resolution, which means if customer is calling in, then within 7 days or 30 days, there are different variations of the KPI, how many times they are calling back, let's say within 7 days. Because the most important thing which drives customer satisfaction, if you serve the customer's issue or question in a single call. Because the best companies doesn't need customer service, because if there is no reason to call, everything works perfectly, then you don't call the customer service. So I think I feel that, I believe in technology, and if AI is working really well and programmed well, then I hope that it can achieve a better kind of first contact resolution from that sense, meaning that giving because sometimes agents don't know the answer. They send the customer to the branch, as we have seen, go to the branch. I was wondering, why do you need to go to the branch to access your money? Because if you go to the branch, you can take the money immediately. But anyway, so trying, to pass the customer to another channel, and this issue not solved, so the customer is calling back. So I think if that works well, from that sense, I think from practical point of view, it can help to solve the customer issue. Probably that's true if the customer is upset, and then it doesn't help to calm down and, talk patiently and then understand properly the customer's issue. So that's why maybe if a customer is super angry and wants to have a human touch, press this human. If he doesn't need that emotional touch, just want the issue to be solved, then goes to the robot.
Thank you. So was this study done with Hungarian doctors or? Okay. Yeah. You raised an interesting point in that if you have angry customers, and I'm just asking because I don't know. Would it be better to have the automated solution take their calls, because then you can probably cut down on employee churn, because your human employees don't have to deal with them, and maybe the solution can deal with them. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Other than that, I don't think I'm in a position to add anything to this. So.
I would like to mention one more human skills that you need in the contact center or customer service, besides of emotions and creativity, is the talent of persuasion or manipulation. And it's a business, so I think AI can't do sales. If AI do sales, it's supported by, not a sales. If you want to do sales in contact center or customer services, I think you will need humans, but another task is okay for bots also.
I wish I could argue with all of you, but no, this is not my role. Anyway, I think we have time for one more question, and it can be a closing question. So would you mind to tell your opinion that how do you see, what kind of opportunities does AI have right now and in the future, and what kind of limitations does it have now and in the future? I give you some time to prepare to answer this question, but It's a kind of, you already touched this point as well. So maybe just as a summary, as a closing remark, that how do you see that? And maybe I can add one more challenging question that, which is more practical. That how does it impact your staffing plan? If you are in a customer service role, if you are not, then in the training as well, and your client's role, or how do they see in the future that do they plan to hire the same number of people, or do they plan to lay off some people because of AI, or at the end of the day, this is a more factual side of the story. So opportunities, limitations, and maybe the factual impact. And also I'm asking you to, on behalf of your clients, how do you see it?
Okay, I partially mentioned before. In my current situation, I have to say that I am planning to use much AI or language models or something like that, more and more automation. But I don't plan to reduce the human resource. I would like to improve the quality and would like to improve the sales. And in connection to trainings, I think we will need more soft skills training, because it will be the main, I don't know, the strength of the human resource.
I came here all scared. Remember when I went out that my job will be taken away? I'm very happy to hear Gergő saying that more soft skills trainings will be needed, because that will be a differentiating factor. So it was a roller coaster ride for me. Yeah, I think I said it before, so just one sentence. I think it's a synergy. It's working together and using AI to make customer experience better, but also giving the opportunity to customer service agents to do what they can be the best at, handling complex issues, really giving excellent customer experience to people.
So my view is that I think AI will further increase, and then more and more kind of tasks and contact types will be automated. And we, as Vodafone said at the beginning, so we are making people not redundant, but it's more like, we are not, because the churn is high usually in the call centers. The yearly attrition is, let's say, around 30%. So you just don't replace certain set of people, meaning that, the number of agents who are handling the calls is decreasing. But also, we have another important measure is the frequency of call. So we do a lot in order to receive less calls, digitizing a lot of things, challenging the customers to digital channels, for example. So the number of calls coming to the agents is less and less, therefore you need less people. I think in terms of challenges, probably these things which we discussed, that if people are kind of, the agents are understanding how an AI tool works, then it can be misleading to a certain extent. Probably there are some IT security challenges which we have been discussing. I'm not very familiar with that part of the business, but I think those can be also something which we need to overcome. And I fully agree with you that I think sales is important. We didn't talk about that, but for example, in Vodafone, we use a certain system to do the cross-selling and delivering offers to the customers in the different channels. It's super complex. It takes years to integrate. And I think only simple things like if customer is running out of the data and they want to upsell the data, it's easy to convince the customer through like an AI tool to sell something. But if you want to convince a customer to move to a different package or upgrade, or in the banking, I don't know, to take a personal loan, for example, I don't think that an AI can have such meaningful conversation with the customer, so the customer is going to buy a product like that. So that's it.
Thank you. You actually raised a quite interesting point in terms of not just what we call AI, but automation. And as you well know, KPMG is also an audit firm, and in case of finding auditors, it's getting harder and harder. And how do you compensate for with that, with technical solutions? And it's actually not taking anybody's job, because the job is going to be different, and you need less people anyways. Other than that, I really think the hybrid approach is the way to go, but I mean it in a general way and not in just customer services, because you can see how the products are also being developed. Like everything is called co-pilot, which is essentially assistant that you work with, but does not work without you. And the way I use these tools as well is to do the boring parts of the job, like writing the documentation for the given function and things like that. So I think we are going in that direction, and I think it's good. In terms of what will be missing in 5 years, I think logical reasoning is still a big point, and we are not going to get there, because we have, not we, but companies like OpenAI have invested in a lot on these technologies, which from an architectural point of view, it just cannot do it. You cannot teach it, because it doesn't work that way. Somebody like Google in 2017 has to come up with a completely new approach to make that, and that could be 2 years from now, that could be 20. But we are not going to get there with these types of models, that's for sure.
back to business. So one limitation. So the limitation is the budget and the business. So we have to know that the cost of the developments and the revenue or the saving, etc. So we need a good business model. I think it's the biggest limitation of the AI developments.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we close this conversation, I would like to open the stage for 2 or 3 questions, because we are running out of time. There are some questions. I give you the mic, but please be loud, because for the stream they can hear you here.
Thank you for the... Okay. Thank you for the panel discussion. I have a question to Daniel about KPMG is one of the big 5. So I guess that you made the study before for companies like Vodafone or that have call centers. That what's the cost of developing their own customer support, like automated or AI customer support center? Also the human-based customer support. So what are the costs for each one of the solutions? In my opinion, I think it's...
Yeah, okay. I'm just... thank you for the question. Actually, I don't at all deal with customer services, so I have no way of answering that. But I can share with you the general principle, which did not change at all because of these types of solutions. It has always been a cost-benefit analysis. And machine learning in particular, and not just generative models, it's not always worth to do it, even in predictive analytics, because in order to get the data to make the model, it would cost you more money than you are ever going to make from the output. So you have to consider the costs and the benefits on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Did we answer your question in your panel? Yeah, because I remember that I referred back to this. So any other questions? Yep.
I'm actually not sure if any of you could answer, but let me also elaborate a little bit, giving two examples so my question make more sense. Like, for example, like in the Netherlands, you know, like you mentioned that a lot of people prefer not to have, you know, bots. They prefer human interaction. But 10 years ago, all the branches, bank branches, don't have any humans in the Netherlands. It's all, you know, online banking, and it has changed. And obviously, culture has a lot to do with it. And I also agree that it's hybrid. Like, some people are more accommodating to humans than robots. Or an AI dentist. You know, when I mentioned that in California you have AI dentists, people were like, what? I'm not going to have an AI robot near my mouth. So back to my question is that, like, with this dynamic demographic thoughts, like, how do companies, like bigger companies, actually have a strategy to implement these, you know, AI tools that can actually become more mainstream? Does it make sense? Like, that they would actually use by majority of the people.
I may. I don't know if the question was directed to.
I will pass the mic as well.
Yeah, so I think it's, so as a Gen Y person, the last thing I'm going to make is to do is make a call to the call center, because I'm going to exhaust any other options before that. So it has, as you mentioned, a lot to do with demographics as well, and the general level of digitalization, because it doesn't have to be something based on machine learning. I can't remember when I was at a bank branch office the last time, because it's all online banking. So I think we are going to keep building on that in a sense that the majority of people like it, and it's cheaper for the company. It's a win-win situation. The problem comes when it's the other way around. And yeah, that's something that companies have to figure out. But I'm not a business consultant, so I will stop speaking.
So I think from my side, the answer is, I think no one knows this, that, you know, what will the future trend and how it is changing. But as said, for example, I'm a Gen X person, but my kids are, so they were, I think, Gen Z, and what is the next? Alpha?
Alpha.
But they are not Alpha, they are Gen Z. But for example, when I ask my kid, did you call your grandmother? Yeah, we have spoken, and it means that I have sent her or him a chat message. You know, they always do only chat, so they even don't use their phone. So I think the future is, I'm not sure that these people are gonna happily call a call center and talk to someone. Right. So they are using online everywhere. They are chatting with everyone. I was on a presentation where they were talking about general differences, and then they said the Gen Z, for example, or even the next generation, they don't say, in Hungarian we say jó napot kívánok, kezi csókolom, like we say good day or, you know, good afternoon. Like, they don't say that, because in the chat it's like an ongoing communication. So they say hi, this is Balázs Zsoni, and so on, because it's like a completely different generation, and I think that will be more like the future, and then companies try to adapt to those channels and the behavior of this new generation. So it's not like we are setting the trends and they are following. It's more like companies try to follow that.
One more thing in connection with the big companies. You mentioned big companies. I think big companies need innovation, but have to be careful. So when it's very bright, new, and very fancy innovations, I don't know if innovation or new ideas, It's probably not not the business of big companies, but startups and fintechs. So that's why they spread, I think, because they for a big company it's too risky, I think, because things change very quickly.
Maybe we have time for one more question, one last question if someone wants to ask a question. If not, it's completely fine because I think we can stay a little bit longer here outside with some refreshment.
There is one more.
Okay, the last question is here then.
My question is more about the customer support. Can you imagine that we go to a direction where the customer support, if you want to talk to a human, it will be a paid premium service? Because today, the people like Donny or your son or me, we don't want to talk to agents, but the cost, I imagine, is more segregated to all of us. So I could get a cheaper service if I don't want to talk to an agent. Do you think, or can you imagine we will go to such direction?
Great question. Who would like to answer?
Actually, it is on my roadmap. So yes, it's a package. I think it's also a solution in the package. So I think it's in the future. So I'm planning to do that. The market is not ready now in banking, but we will do it.
So for example, when I also used to work for a bank, Citibank, we used to have like a Citigold number for the premium Citigold customers who like the private banking customers, and the IVR was much simpler for them, and they could easily access an agent, for example. Like low-value customers had a very complicated IVR, and it took them ages to get to an agent. And for example, in Vodafone, when we launched Vodafone Red, it had a kind of premium, in a way, a premium type of customer service. We called it Red Agents, and they could access, so with the premium tariff that was associated with like a premium customer service type of thing. So I think the answer is definitely yes.
So then thank you very much again for coming and joining us online, and thank you for the panelists. I think it was a very insightful conversation. I truly enjoyed it, and we know that the future is the sales applications and the audit applications, so we will focus on that for the next meetup. This was the last in this year, so hope to see you next year again, and thank you very much for coming and again. And the refreshments are there, so hope we can stay a little bit longer. Thank you.
Yeah.